Hello, and welcome back to Two for Classics, a classic movie review podcast. My name is Liliana.
And I'm Sam.
And this is episode 2 of A Place in the Sun.
Yes. So, fair warning. This is full spoilers, and I'm about to spoil the entire movie. So if you haven't seen it, you can hit pause and go watch it and then come back. But if you don't mind hearing about the movie before you watch it, stick around. Here we go. So, having hitchhiked to reach his wealthy uncle's factory, George Eastman, played by Montgomery Clift, finds himself faced with a golden opportunity for a more comfortable life. After he is placed on the factory floor, instead of administration by his cousin, he encounters Alice Tripp, a young woman also from humble beginnings and content with her lot in life. She is played by Shelley Winters. George, finding himself lonely in these new surroundings, starts a relationship with Alice, where he is content for the time being, which really doesn't last very long. His uncle, on a walkthrough, finds George not where he had intended to place him, and unintentionally sets the ball in motion for George to properly meet our third main character here, Angela Vickers, played by Elizabeth Taylor. She, in turn, opens the door of society life for George. Just as all this is finally happening for George, Alice has some news for him. She's pregnant. Sadly, George wants nothing more to do with Alice now that he has Angela. He embarks on a path to maintain his new relationship and also to distance himself from Alice by any means. His lies and choices finally catch up to him in the unfortunate form of Alice drowning. Now George not only loses both women, his unborn child, and the chance at a society life, but he is now faced with the trip to the electric chair. So, here we stand with a tragedy. Something I didn't mention in the first episode was that this movie actually has a real life source. But before the real life source, it has a novel based on the real life source. The novel was an American tragedy written by Theodore Dreiser in 1925. But the novel itself was inspired by the real tragedy of the murder of Grace Brown in 1906.
Wow, it just keeps happening, huh?
It took one unfortunate murder to inspire a novel, to inspire a movie. So, one of the biggest questions I have for you here for the movie is, were you rooting for George?
Because George has a previous knowledge of Alice's fear of water, and that she doesn't know how to swim. Why would he take her to the lake on a, broken down canoe?
Yes.
Or poor excuse for a boat. It's creaking as they're moving along the lake.
It's not in good shape.
So, I found my okay. So, in the first time I watched this movie, I was rooting for George because
you were.
Yes, the first time because this is my second time watching the movie. I found myself rooting for George because, it's like the Cinderella story. You went from, it's like a rags to riches. Yes. Yeah. But then, it's interesting because the second time that I saw it, it was different for me. I found myself not rooting for George. I found myself thinking he took Alice to the lake with the intention to harm her. And then he changes his mind a little bit, right? Like at one point there on the boat, he changes his mind.
He's kind of flip-flopping back and forth.
Yeah, like he feels guilty.
Should I not?
But I think at one point he says, at one point he does not want to do it anymore. But then it's too late because she falls into the water.
Yeah,
and she dies.
Obviously he does, well, not obviously, but he does not push her into the water.
No, not physically pushes her, but she falls into the water because he put her in that situation.
Yes,
so that's why I blame him. Up. Yeah. He changed his mind too late, I think. So that's why, yes, I think he was guilty of murder.
We didn't get to that part whether you think he's guilty or not. But
were you rooting? Okay.
Were you rooting for? So you're not rooting.
I'm not rooting for George.
You're rooting for anyone?
Because he just kept. I found myself rooting for Alice.
Did you?
Yeah, I really wanted her to get a break.
I found myself very frustrated with that character. Just the choices that she makes and thinking, oh my goodness. But I also feel bad for her because she doesn't have a support system. She doesn't have anybody.
She's there by herself.
By herself, trying to make a living to send money back to her family. Because she does have a family, but they're not there. She came here to kind of make some money.
Yeah, she came to the city to work and make money and send money back.
And
she's by herself. So no friends. She doesn't even have friends.
She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have anyone to talk to or get advice from.
Yeah.
So that's what frustrates me about it. That she's making these choices, but I understand why she's making
and she's
choices.
Really young too, and
she's very young.
And I think George takes advantage of that.
I'm kind of with you on the fact that I want to root for George because again the rags to riches kind of situation, but he really made some poor choices himself.
Well, he had an agenda.
Yeah, but he
didn't care.
He couldn't turn down the Tinder date and wait,
Yeah,
for his big break.
He almost tricked Alice into sleeping with him.
He was very persistent.
Yeah.
He was very
he was very pushy, and I think he tricked her. Now,
I don't think he tricked her. I think he convinced her.
Well, if you watch the movie, okay.
Doesn't trick her because she does agree, but she's been convinced by George.
I'm not saying that he forced himself. No, he does not. But he kind of is very persistent. It's very like he just constantly is bringing it up, and putting themselves in situations where they can have intimacy. That's just So that's what I'm saying. He had an agenda. He didn't really care about Alice. And
she was
a
placeholder.
Yeah. I don't think he cared about Angela either.
You and I disagree on that.
Yeah, I know. To me, George did not care about anybody but himself. You don't see that though. Don't see it because he acts so humble.
You do kind of see it. The audience sees it.
Yeah, he has an agenda, and that's just to become rich.
I honestly think that he does care for Angela to some degree because of the last line of that movie. And when she comes to see him before they take him to the chair.
Okay, so there's a scene where at the end, right, when he's waiting
on death row.
Yeah, he's waiting.
And he says because
she comes to visit him.
Yeah, she tells him that she still loves him. Right?
And he
says, I have it right here. Love me for the time I have left, then forget me.
That's the first time that I honestly see that George has found some kind of redemption.
Yeah, because he gives her. That's a very
I think he knows that he deserves to be there.
Yeah, but he wants her to move on. For herself.
That's the first time he actually is thinking about somebody else other than himself. So yes, at the very end.
I do think he cares about her to some degree. I don't think he's in love with her, but I think he's in love with what she represents.
I think he's attracted to her.
Yeah.
But I also think that, again, he was always more attracted to what she could bring to his life, right?
Yeah.
Just like Alice brought company and, sexual activity.
Well, like I said, she was a placeholder in his life until something better.
And then Angela brought a place in society.
Yeah, what he wanted.
Yeah. And she was not bad to look at. So, yeah, until the very end when he is, guilty and is found guilty of murder, he realizes that he did wrong.
So poor Alice is constantly trying to push after they find out that she's pregnant. She's constantly trying to push him into fixing the solution and marrying her. And she says, we'll make do, right?
Yes.
And George is delaying it. I need until we have vacation. I was invited to the lake by my uncle.
He does not want to marry her.
No, he's trying to buy as much time as possible to try to see how he can fix their problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because he considers it a problem.
Yes.
And we get to an ultimatum where she kind of corners him and he's forced to go with her to the registrar's office. But lo and behold, it's a holiday.
So they cannot get married.
Day.
Yeah.
They walk right into the courthouse.
Big old sign on the door.
There's what I don't understand is they drive up to the courthouse in this town square.
Yes.
There's no one around.
Empty. Yeah.
It's completely empty.
So I would have wait a minute.
Yeah. There's already
a clue. Yeah, some red flags. What's going on here?
There's signs all over.
No, they just walk in.
Yeah, there's signs all over the streets that Labor Day.
Yeah.
And they walk straight in, walk up to the door of the registrar's office, and there's a sign on the door that says closed for Labor Day. And one of my favorite scenes there is Alice
physically throws herself at the door
in desperation to try to open the door.
That she can't get married to George on that day. Another day. Yeah, right?
So, because they're walking in calmly. She's kind of sad and upset.
I mean, they're both miserable.
And George is miserable.
They're both miserable.
But the change in the...
Angela is miserable, I think, because she knows...
Alice.
I'm sorry, yes. Alice is miserable because she knows...
He doesn't want her.
He doesn't want to marry her.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
I think really that's the thing.
But she's hopeful that at least they will come to an understanding.
So
after they're married.
You know.
But after they find out that it's closed, George's demeanor changes. He's very happy.
Oh, he's very happy. They go to
So then he kind of sets it up where they go onto the lake.
Have a picnic. They go on a boat ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then accident happens. I think like we said, initially George had put this, I think he was thinking on the spot, is what I think. I really don't think that he sat a week before and said, I'm going to do A, B, and C.
Because because he had the idea earlier in the film.
Yes, he had the idea with the knowledge that she had told him in the beginning, I don't know, I'm afraid of the water, I do not know how to drown,
I don't know how to drown?
I'm afraid of the water, I don't know how to swim. He remembers that, but I don't think that George, like I said, in my opinion, he didn't sit down and wrote A, B, and C is what I'm going to do.
I don't think he sat down, but I think he saw an opportunity.
Yes, that's what I think.
Because even afterwards, when he goes to swim, have a kind of a private swim with Angela on this kind of secluded part of the lake.
Yeah.
She also mentions that there was a previous drowning where the couple supposedly drowned and only the woman's body was found.
So with this knowledge he starts getting these ideas, right?
Yeah,
like maybe I can get rid of the problem. Mm-hmm. So I do think that he takes when they found out they cannot get married on the day, they decide to go have a
George convinces her to
go on a picnic, have a boat ride on the lake.
So he sets it up. In a way it's premeditated. He thinks about it because he has to get the boat, he has to get the food.
But then we see that when they're on the boat, Angela's annoying him with all this. I keep saying that. Alice is annoying him with all this, back and forth of how,
she's comfortable.
She just talks too much.
She's comfortable with her life. She's comfortable
being
with them
poor,
just surviving.
Yeah,
and that is everything that he doesn't want. Yes. And
I think it makes him. I think he pushes him over the edge.
Yeah,
but then he, at that one moment when he's about to probably push her into the water, he changes his mind.
Yeah,
and he does not do it. But then she gets up on the boat.
She gets up to try to walk towards him because he's having like a breakdown.
And he tells her not to get up, walk on the boat.
He says stop.
She ends up falling into the water, and she dies.
They both. She turns over the boat.
Yeah, but the thing is this. I don't think that he does when Alice falls into the water. I don't think George does much to help her.
You and I disagree here. Because there's a whole court scene about this. He claims that he himself was hit by the boat because the boat capsizes.
Yes.
And it does show in the autopsy that supposedly Alice was hit over the head with something blunt, which we know as seeing the movie that it was the boat edge, the edge of the boat
that hit her over
the head.
That he never struck her.
No, he never hit her.
Yeah.
But he himself says that he was hit. That he was confused. And the argument from the district attorney was, why didn't you go and try and find her? And he claims, he says, I came up.
Well, he claims that he tried.
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he had time.
You think he did?
Because I think he himself was stunned from the boat. And then when he finally kind of comes up for air, he's very, we don't really see in the movie what happens. You only see him walking out of the lake.
We see when she gets up, she gets up, she starts walking on, towards him while standing on the boat. The boat is rocky. He says, no, stay where you are. And then we see she falls into the water, and that's it.
Well, she doesn't fall. The boat unstabilizes and the boat overturns. They both go
into water. But then the next scene,
George is walking out of the lake.
But that's what I'm saying. Because when he was on trial, he kept saying this. After he was convicted, the jury comes back with a guilty verdict. He's talking to his mom in jail. She comes to see him.
She's been trying to have a stay of execution.
Yeah. But he says something like, like he comes to terms. Maybe he didn't push her. But I don't think he tried to help her once she fell in the water.
No, I agree that he is guilty of premeditated murder or unintentional manslaughter, I think is.
And I think that's the part that he's guilty for.
Well, he is. I do think that he deserved the chair.
I think he knows that he deserves it at the very end.
But the district attorney is a whole. You see that character at the very end of that movie, but that's a fun character too.
Yeah. I think the biggest loser here are two.
I want to talk about that scene real quick in the courtroom where they bring in another rickety boat as a demonstration.
Because the district attorney wants to do dramatics.
Yeah, he's a very dramatic kind of man. And George is explaining what happened. Mm-hmm. And then the district attorney says, no, you hit her over the head. He grabs a paddle and he starts smacking the boat and making this big scene.
And that's not true because, in fact, when they are when George and Alice are, when he's rowing at one point, he says he's tired and they lose the paddle. That's what the boat starts to just kind of.
No, he has both paddles.
No, I think they lose a paddle.
No, I don't remember that. I remember that both paddles are in the boat.
Because he says, he says, I'm tired.
I'm tired.
And then she says, let's just float here.
Let's just float, yeah. But he also doesn't help himself. He's a dumb criminal. I want to say this, okay? He leaves so much evidence. He has this car that he stalls when he says, let's just go into the lake.
That's why I'm telling you, it's not premeditated murder because he didn't plan this. He didn't plan this.
There is a level of...
It was on the spot that he thought about doing this.
So many witnesses, the boat guy, the guy that saw them arguing at the bus stop, the campers he runs into when he's dripping wet, heading back to his car. He starts up this car in the middle of the night, and this car is loud. In the forest, it echoes.
Well, yeah, because when he comes out of the water, he wants to escape.
Yeah.
And in the process, he stumbles into some campers, some Boy Scouts.
Yeah, Boy Scouts.
And then he gets up, finally finds the road.
And starts up the car.
Starts up and leaves.
And it's so interesting how the cinematography is there, where it's so jarring. It's quiet, and then he starts the car, and the car sound is so loud that even you're stressing out a little bit. Oh my goodness! Because everyone's gonna hear this.
On the witness stand, the old man that rented the boat,
the boat renter guy,
he says that he heard the car
start up.
Yeah.
So he didn't do himself any favors. The landlady.
I think he was thinking on the spot.
The landlady also snitches.
He had an opportunity.
Him. She was kind of the reason why they found George, his name, because she was the one that says, "Oh,
yeah." The landlady, Alice's landlady, tells the police that George has been coming around.
Yeah. So she's the one that kind of gives them the name.
And they show him the picture. She says he's an Eastman, but she doesn't know the Eastman, so they show.
Well, they don't know. They go to investigate.
But they show a picture of the one that he's on the boat, the one that Alice saw.
I'm not sure if they show her a picture, but I know that she says he's.
Yeah, they show her the picture, and she points him out. It's him, because the cousin is there. I remember that. Yeah.
I don't remember that. I only remember that she does say it's an Eastman.
No. Because there's
exactly. That's why they go to investigate. No. Because they don't know which Eastman. Clearly not the uncle.
They find out because she points them out.
I don't remember.
There's the father Eastman, there's the cousin, and there's George Eastman.
But they don't know that.
That's why they ask her to point him out.
I don't think that she points him out.
She points him out.
No,
we're not going to have this argument.
We're going to have this argument.
Samantha, she points him. How would they pinpoint who it is?
They're the police. That's their job.
They're not. They don't have a crystal. Oh, come on.
Anyways.
But anyway. So, who do you think the biggest loser was?
The bird. So the bird. Okay. You're not going to convince me otherwise. There's a bird. Okay.
Well, there's a scene.
There's a bird. Okay. At the very end of the movie, when George is about to be walked out into the electric chair.
He's having the dead man walking.
He's having this conversation with Angela, who comes to see him on his last kind of
and then
moments.
They take him out because they're walking him. The priest and the guards are walking him down the hallway.
When they're talking, there's a scene that they show the hallway where there's a couple of police guards.
Yes.
There, and hanging from the ceiling, there's a bird cage with a bird in it. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know why you would have a bird in a death row kind of area, but that bird is double jailed. Not only is he in its own jail,
but he's the biggest loser too.
Then he's in the bigger jail.
That's terrible.
This is sad.
I honestly think he's the biggest loser.
He's the biggest bird right there.
He's never getting out.
That's messed up.
So no, I think Angela is the biggest loser.
Unfortunately, no. Angela.
Yeah.
Not Alice.
No. Angela. Because Alice and George made their decisions early on in life. Alice, whatever the reason was, Alice agreed to sleep with George.
Angela has a chance, though, because she's so young to move on.
No, we're just talking about what happened to them.
No, but in terms of the biggest loser, she didn't lose.
We're talking about in the love triangle. She was the biggest loser. Because
what you're essentially saying is that Alice, for whatever choices she maybe have coerced into picking, she did pick those choices at the end.
Yes. Okay, so
it's a cautionary tale.
Yes. And George too. Angela, on the other hand, she was... And Alice knew about Angela.
She did.
Angela didn't know anything about Alice.
No. So
that's what I'm saying. In her mind...
I guess in the love triangle, yes, she is the biggest loser.
She is the biggest loser.
I would... I honestly think in terms of the movie and in how the characters
Alice
are
died.
Alice.
George dies. Well, he's taken to the electric chair.
Well,
and she's left.
Yeah, but she
to
has
deal
a
with the consequences
to do
of.
better.
Huh?
She has a chance to.
Yeah, but we're just talking about in the movie.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's where she lost the most. She lost the most because now.
Well, we can agree to disagree on that.
No, we can. Now society. She should deal with society pointing fingers.
Well, they all kind of
protected involved with the murderer.
They all protected her because they took her name. Well, they all know in their circles, right?
That's what I'm talking about. And she lost supposedly the love of her life.
It's supposedly.
Yeah. So I think that, in my opinion, the biggest loser was the bird. And Angela. So here we are. Hope you enjoyed.
No. We need to give our rating here.
Okay. Yes.
So.
What rating do you give this movie?
I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely up there. Mm-hmm. I will give it a 7. It's a conservative 7 there. Because there was I don't know. There was a lot of good cinematography, a lot of good scenes where things are not said, but they're very much implied by what's happening. A couple of dancing scenes in there. Mm-hmm. Angela speaking to the camera. And even the way that things are portrayed, like when he's on the phone with the mom and she's there. So I think 7 for me with everything together.
I give it an 8.
An 8? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I give it an 8 because, of course, I think, in my opinion, Montgomery Clift. Every movie he's in, I think he was great. He was great in this movie. Mm-hmm. Right? Once more. Shelley Winters, fantastic. Just the acting alone, I was so entertained by all 3 of them. Mm-hmm. But specifically, Montgomery and Shelley Winters. That's why I give it an 8. And the story is so good. And I think that the fact that it was based on a true crime, it made it even more interesting.
Based on a novel, based on a true crime.
But, I think, and also because I think I always, when I see, especially the classics, because there's no, pretty much AI non-existent at the time. Sorry. CGI. Because, and the classics, because CGI was non-existent.
Special effects, pretty much.
Special effects. And it was mostly, just the actors doing their thing. And the story, there's so much to learn from this.
Yeah, definitely. So we encourage you.
We loved it.
Yeah, we encourage you to watch the
mostly
movie.
Entertained.
If you have not seen it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you did enjoy it. And I wonder if you want to post about whether you agree with us or not.
Yeah, that would be great.
On certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Although, if you say anything other than the bird was the biggest loser, you're wrong.
Yeah, definitely, watch it and give your opinion, I think. Let's start watching these movies again. Well, not again, for the first time for most people.
For a lot of people, definitely encouraged to kind of look into these genre movies that, kind of in a sense have been forgotten.
Thank you for listening.
Not just thank you for listening, but thank you for bearing with us.
Yes.
I know that there's a lot of issues here in the beginning that were kind of wrinkles that we're going to iron out.
This is our first podcast.
In our first 2 episodes here, where we're finding our legs, our sea legs, so to speak. And we will iron out the wrinkles, like I said, and it'll get better over time. But thank you for listening.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
Please come back. Yeah. Follow us. Tell your friends, family, whoever, tell them about our podcast. Hopefully we can
spread the word.
Spread the word. And watch those movies. Yes.
Hopefully you're entertained.
And I'm going to leave you with a quote by Montgomery Clift. If a man don't go his own way, he is nothing.